before this video starts, I would just like to say one thing. So of course this is going to be a really long video. I haven't really edited it at this point, the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse showcase. But of course, since I know that some of you guys are really impatient and you don't want to watch like a 2-hour, 1-hour video or whatever, I am deciding to put timestamps at the bottom for each figure. So if you want to see each figure in individual order or something like that, of course, go down below in the description, as well as all the links to everybody who I got inspiration for this video. So of course you guys can enjoy in some way. So if there's a figure that you don't like in this video, you don't have to watch the whole video. You know what I mean? So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So yeah, let's get this party started, man. What's going on, guys, and welcome back. And today is the highly anticipated showcase for my Lego Custom Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse showcase. Now, I've worked on these figures for 4 months, on and off, since May. So, yeah, these are very, very special customs because I learned a lot of new tricks as well doing this. So there's going to be a lot of new methods that are going to be in this that I've never done on any other custom before this. So I'm very excited to show you guys all these customs. And yeah, without further ado, let's already get into the showcase and start off with the first character, which is Miles. So here's the first figure. We got Miles Morales. Now, before I go into any of the main characters, Miles, Peter, Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, I think were the main characters I wasn't going to make. So I made Miles really late into this project. He was kind of like Gwen, where I made him really late in projects. So of course the figure that was going to be in this video was just going to be the regular Lego Miles Morales that you guys get from the Lego sets. However, I decided not to do that. And I literally decided not to do that and just go on with the figures and just make him in his Spider-Verse outfit, which I am very proud of how he turned out. Now, it's kind of hard to see him since he is a very hard figure to see. But I did add a lot of details on him. First thing that I added was the dot effect. Now, you're going to see this on a lot of figures. Specifically on him and Gwen, I decided to add little dots for kind of the meshing of the suit, as well as the Band-Aid dots that are all over the figures. So there is the red Spider-Verse logo, as well as the side as well, kind of bleeding from his armpits. Now, this is kind of scratched off the side just because it's under his arms. There really isn't anything I can do with that unless I sand down the torso, but I didn't really feel like doing that. You can kind of barely see the face. Yeah, I can kind of see the dots on him. He is pretty cool, though. I do like how he turned out. And yeah, that is really it for Miles. Of course, you can see the spider on the back. I'm not going to really take too much time because there's just a lot of Spider-Verse people. But there's Miles, and now we're going to move on to the next figure, which is Gwen. Next figure on the list is Gwen. Now, Gwen was another figure that I was just going to use the Lego version. I actually have the Lego version right here. So I was literally just going to say, hey, this is Gwen. Let's move on to the next figure. But I decided to full-on make a new custom for her. Now, I think, yeah, I did. The hood, the head cannot come out of the hood because I decided to sculpt on the bottom, which I used the old classic hood piece, not the new ones. Now, if I had access to it, I probably would use Benson Bone, which everybody used, which a lot of inspiration took from a lot of people. So before I go into all the figures and stuff like that, I will mention some that I took specific designs from. But here are all the people that I took inspiration from. All those guys had really amazing ideas that I wanted to incorporate into my figures. So I decided to give a little bit of credit because I don't want to take all the credit because that's kind of mean and rude. So yeah. Anyway, here's Gwen. Once again, from Potato Mean, I actually decided to use the dot effect on her as well, with silver instead, but instead of the gray that I decided to do on Miles. But of course, she also does have her Chuck Taylor shoes, which I also did paint, which I think turned out pretty cool, as well as her face turned out okay. I'm not really happy on how the webbing on her turned out. I think it turned out okay. I think I could have done better, but who cares? Anyway, she does also have the dot effect, I think the same dot effect that I did on Miles on her torso, which is pretty cool. And she does have the silver on the head, which is really awesome. So yeah, it's a pretty cool figure. Nothing really extraordinary about it. It's just Gwen, and yeah, she turned out really cool. So yeah, that is it for Gwen. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is Peter B. Parker. Here was another one of the figures that actually really decided to change my mind. Him and Spider-Man 2099 is the reason why you are seeing these figures right now. But of course, we do get rid of Mayday right now, because we'll take a look at her in a minute. But once again, I did take a lot of inspiration from Potato Mean on him as well, specifically with the baby carrier on the front. I thought it was a really cool idea, so I decided to go for it. Now, he is one of the first figures that we are taking a look at that is using my brand new technique that I introduced with my Sig Fig, and then went with all of these, some of these figures, which is trench coats. So here's my Sig Fig right here that uses a trench coat. He uses a longer trench coat, which I'm not going to go over this with all the figures, but the trench coats are actually made out of folder paper, which is right here. It's kind of the folder paper. I'll leave a link down below to the person who I got inspiration from, which is Lego Freak. He used a lot of inspiration on a lot of his figures with using trench coats, which is pretty cool. Now, I did paint all the design of the baby carrier on his back and stuff, as well as the fur and the legs look really cool as well, which I also did paint, which I think I can remove them, which yes, I think I can. Here they are. So they're just some dark blue legs, which I painted the slippers on. I tried to paint the word dad on it, because that's what they say. But yeah, they are pretty cool. It's really it for his legs. But yeah, there's kind of a better look at the trench coat. I'm not going to remove it since it's also really hard to remove. Underneath is just the normal spider torso. I also decided to sculpt on the arms of his little bathrobe, I guess you could say. And I also decided to take more inspiration from Potato Mean and decide to go with the Poe Dameron head, because I thought it was a really good idea. And a lot of people have been using this hairpiece idea, which is from Queer Eye, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's just the brown hairpiece. It's pretty cool. It's just the burnt umber painted it, and it has a little bit of gray streaks in there, which I really like. So the next character we have is Mayday. This is a fully sculpted figure. I didn't have access to the baby piece that a lot of people have been using, like Potato Mean and a bunch of other people use. So I decided to full on sculpt using a stud, which is at the bottom. So I basically sculpted on a stud with a 3D model of the baby piece, just looking at it and just seeing if I could do it. And I think I did a pretty good job by just freehanding this. And I did paint it to look like her as well. As you can see, her face turned out really cool. I'm very happy on how the eyes turned out and stuff like that, as well as her little spider hat as well. And what you can do is obviously you can put her on the inside of this, which is pretty cool. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for Peter B. Parker. Now we're going to take a look at the next figure, which is going to be Spider-Man 2099. So here is the next character himself, the GOAT himself. We have Spider-Man 2099. Now, this is a very interesting character. Now, this is not the same size as a normal Lego minifigure, so if we bring Miles in for whatnot, he is much taller and much bigger. I used a lot of new techniques on this dude. I don't remember what I did for his torso, but if I will, I could find a photo of the exoskeleton or what I did. But I think I did the same technique that I did for Groot, which is I took a Lego torso, I actually cut two minifigure kind of torsos and just cut off the armholes, put them on the side, sculpted them on the side, sculpted his muscles, and then after I did that, I extended the arms and the legs. The legs are actually brand new that I did today. which basically just cut up 2 Lego minifigure legs and extended them to make him longer. And of course as well decided to give him his blades and paint all the detail on him as well. So he's a pretty cool character. I didn't make Lila, didn't feel like it. One of the things I wanted to also add on this dude was his cape. Who knows, maybe in the future I'll make it literally. But yeah, I don't really feel like making his cape. I'm sorry, I just bumped the camera. But yeah, I don't really feel like making his cape right now. But he does have the really cool blades on the back of his back as well. And he was also the reason why I had to make basically why you're seeing these characters right now is because of him. I really wanted to make him because his suit was just so cool. And I think Itran made it really well in Lego, which is pretty cool. So yeah, of course you can move his arms and stuff like that. It was really hard to do the extended arms because they kept breaking, and I had that happen to a lot of figures with extended arms. So that is it for Spider-Man 2099. Now we're going to take a look at Jessica Drew. Here is the next figure, Jessica Drew. Now, I'm going to mention this with some of these characters, but Jessica Drew is one of the characters that I made that didn't originally have a trench coat. So here is the original version of Jessica Drew. Not that much has changed with her, maybe some little here and there. But of course, as you can see, the jacket was painted on, which I decided for this new showcase that I decided to make all of the trench coats that they have, or jackets, physical, and it actually made them look nicer because the paint isn't so goopy. So I didn't say this with Peter B. Parker because I made him way after the trench coat thing, so I didn't really need to paint his on. Now, once again, I took a lot of inspiration from Spider-Man, especially with the head, which I thought was a really cool idea to use for her, as well as the earrings as well. I took a lot of inspiration from Spider-Man, his showcase. Go check out his video. I'll leave a link down below because he's just a really good guy, and he's pretty cool. Now, I did decide to paint the earrings gold instead of yellow like he did, and I also did sculpt the headband as well, which turned out really cool. Here is the trench coat, removing the hairpiece and seeing the inside of the trench coat. Really isn't anything special, it's just the sculpted belly that I decided to add, as well as she has the detailing on the side that looks really awesome, as well as the back. She also has the spider, with some of the paint on the back as well. So yeah, that's really it for Jessica Drew. Pretty simple character. Really like how she turned out as well. If she could stand, that would be amazing. But yeah, that's it for Jessica Drew. Now we're going to take a look at the next character, which is Ben Reilly's Spider-Man. Alright, so here is Ben Reilly's Spider-Man, and this dude has been updated since the last time you guys saw him. So here is the original version. So this is the original version. I completely redid this figure because I wanted to give him justice, and I think I did. I think I did a fantastic job on how he turned out. He is absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy how he turned out. I'm actually showing my excitement right now because I actually had him on the shelf for a while, but I'm very happy of how he turned out. Now, a lot of inspiration took from JQL figures. I took a lot of inspiration for some of his figures as well, just because of how good they are. They really turned out amazing, his figures. So, once again, he's actually on YouTube, but his figures, I saw them on Instagram. So who knows, I might leave a link to his Instagram down below, which you should totally go check out. Which I took some inspiration from the head, as well as this idea with using the sculpty for the his tears in his shirt is absolutely incredible. Now, I think he put it on the torso, not what I did, where I actually put him on the arm, which is good, I guess. I don't think he wanted to do that because it'd probably go with the torso, wouldn't look fluid or something. I don't know, but I decided to go with that. I redid the torso, redid the hood, all that fun stuff, and I did do the comic shading, which was probably the best part about doing this guy again. And I also decided to trace the eyes, unlike the original. And I put the little pouches on the side of his boots as well, and the web shooters and the belts as well. So yeah, that is kind of it for Ben Reilly's Spider-Man. Now we're going to take a look at Peni Parker, also known as Spider-Man India. So, Spider-Man India was another figure that you guys saw at the beginning. Him and Spider-Man, Ben Reilly Spider-Man, I literally just showed you guys. But him were the original guys that you guys looked at in the original teaser. If you guys want to refresh, here is the original Spider-Man India. I just need to say, this is an infinitely better figure. The hairstyle, the waist cape, everything, it just screams him. He is just super cool. Anyway, the hairpiece is actually Mad Eye Moody's hairpiece. It's the same hairpiece that I used before, but I decided to sculpt the crap out of it, sculpt all his little curls in his hair, everything like that, which I did not have the other hairpiece that everybody was using on him. I didn't have that, so I decided to make my own from Mad Eye Moody because I thought it looked a lot like it. I actually decided to see if I could take another hairpiece, which is this hairpiece, which I'll actually remove it so you could see what it would look like. But this is just a fantastic piece that I made here. It is just so good. But here is the original hairpiece, and as you guys can see, this just looks like crap. So yeah, doesn't look good. Decided not to go with it. And the face as well, took me a very long time. I still don't think I got good. I don't think I got the perfect Peni Parker head, but I think I did really good on it. So yeah. Anyway, there's the hairpiece. It's so good. I am so happy of how this dude turned out. He turned out way better than my original version. I decided to do his bangles on the side, as well as paint on the front and the back. Another thing that's new with him is I decided to add a waist cape. I didn't really change the paint underneath. I did get rid of the sculpted, this piece though, which is really cool. So I just decided to take I think it was, the base of it was just a full-on waist cape that I use on, I don't remember where it is, but it was just like a full-on waist cape, like 11's waist cape that I traced out, cut out the middle that I needed, and the back as well. Painted a gold trim around it, and then decided to paint this as well. And then I painted all the detailing on his feet, even on the inside as well, even though you can barely see it. But yeah, I am just really happy of how this dude turned out. And yeah, Spider-Man India turned out great. I thought he was an amazing character in the movie. And yeah, anyway, that's going to be it for Spider-Man India. Now we're going to take a look at Hobie Brown, also known as Spider-Punk. So, Spider-Punk is way better than the original. So he is another figure that I decided to revamp altogether and make a brand new version. Here is the original right here, and he is another figure that had the waist, the trench coat issue, so I decided to go back on him and physically make the trench coat, and I took a lot of inspiration from Kincaid Creations, Spider-Punk. Once again, I took inspiration from the strap as well from Supaidaman, because I really love how that looks, and it just looks awesome. And yeah, so first off, the mohawk I took from Kincaid Creations, like I said, just because I thought the toothpick idea was great, and it just gives the skinniness, because the original I just sculpted, which turned out really bad. I'm very happy of how it's holding up. Now, you are allowed to take this off if you like, and it just goes over his shoulder, which is pretty cool. But taking that off right now, putting the head back on, if taking a look at the figure, I painted the band logo on the back. I didn't get the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is actually what that means on the back. I didn't get that all the way. I did get his belt right here. You can kind of see it. It's right here. I did get some electrical tape as well. I also used electrical tape on these figures, mostly this dude, but I did that for his belt, which you can kind of see right here, but it's still very hard to see. And then as well as I did his little overalls as well with electrical tape, as well as I sculpted his little wrists things and his shoulder things as well, and I fully painted the face. So Spider-Punk might be my personal favorite out of this whole showcase, which is kind of sad because we're just getting started. But there is even better figures that are going to be in here. But Spider-Punk is just personally one of my favorites because of how much he's grown of me making him. Now, the logo stuff on the back is just painted stuff like that. It's not really that good. It's just a guitar. And yeah, that is it for Spider-Punk. And now we're going to move on to the next figure, which is going to be Spider-Man Noir. So here is Spider-Man Noir. Now, for this guy, I took a lot of inspiration from 9/7 Lego Maniacs into the Spider-Verse showcase. Now, he did appear at the very end of the movie, which once again, we're making every single Spider-Verse character. So I decided to throw him in here and make him, once again, a trench coat. However, it took me so long to figure out how to make a trench coat that has a high collar. So instead, I decided to take a trench coat, cut out a trench coat, and then sculpt the top. So the top of this is sculpted, as well as I decided to take the, this is basically the knockoff version of the Spider-Man Noir that I got a couple years ago, and I just replaced the legs with black legs, and the head and the hat is all the same, but I just decided to smooth down the hat, which I took inspiration from JQL figures, which is what he did for his Spider-Man Noir, which is basically just cut down the hat to make it much more smaller so it could basically look more like the movie instead of all big and bellowed out and stuff like that, which I did. He is a pretty messy character, but I don't care. I like the black and white shading that I added to him and all the dots, which I did also add on the top of the hat as well as the inside of the trench coat, kind of high collar right there. And on the back as well, I decided to add little gray marks, which I did get from 9/7 Lego Maniac. Overall, he's a pretty cool figure. I like how he turned out, and yeah, he's pretty cool. Anyway, now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is Spider-Ham. So, the reason why this video was kind of delayed a little bit, well, it wasn't delayed, but the reason why I needed more sculpty was for this dude, Spider-Ham. Now, originally, I was looking at my show video, like my display on my shelf, and I saw him, and I was like, oh crap, this is the classic Spider-Ham, the minifigure one. I cannot find it right now. I just cleaned my desk so I could show you guys all these figures. But I decided to make the one from the movie, so we're going to get rid of his mallet right now because his mallet is just the old one. I decided to sculpt one, but I didn't like how it turned out. But here's Spider-Ham. He's a bit top-heavy, but he is able to stand up if he allows me to. Yeah, there he is. He does stand. It just takes me a while to stand him up. But he uses a very interesting technique, which I wanted to do with this showcase. So I didn't want him to be a baby figure. There is actually another figure in this that is a baby. Now, usually what people do is they use the baby piece. So I guess I'll take just little Mayday right there. And they usually just make a baby piece and that's it. Usually from Benson Bone, which... Not crapping on anybody, but I don't like when he's really small because he's still like a toy. Like he's still like a guy who should kind of interact and kind of do Spider-Man stuff and not just be like a little figurine, I guess you could say. But I just believe that he should be just a kind of figure like this where you're able to move the arms up and down and put a mallet in his hands. And you're still able to do that with Benson Bone, but it's just too small for my liking. And once again, I don't have a baby piece. So I decided to do the next best thing and make a smaller minifigure. So what I decided to do is if we actually have a baby figure around here. So here is a figure with mid legs. Not really the best for this example, but Oh yeah, here we go. So I found some little legs over here. So I'm just going to take this random figure and put some little legs on him. So as you can see, he's actually a bit smaller than a little figure. So he's not too big as a figure with mid legs, but he's not also too small, you know what I mean? So he's kind of in the middle. So he's pretty cool. But the body, which is, a lot of you guys probably know if you're big time Lego fans, but if you're not, this is actually a mini doll. So what I did is, if I take the head off, what I did is I took a mini doll body, cut off the little hands and cut off the legs, not really cut off, I actually removed the legs, and decided to sculpt on legs and take minifigure hands and sculpt on those as well, and decided to make a full-on little baby figure, which you can actually see all the paint that I decided to do. I made this dude like the other day, which you could tell immediately as soon as I take the head off, you could tell that this is a mini doll, because mini dolls, of course, don't have minifigure heads. So if I just take a random minifigure head, you cannot put it on here like that. It just doesn't work. So how did I actually get this head on? Well, of course, if you know Lego, like I do, you can tell that this is a bar connection. They use bar connections. So what I just decided to do is take the Tweety Bird head, which I didn't have the Porky Pig head, which usually some people would use. Usually RBM Universe Custom, which is the same dude who got the Zurg design. But of course, I used Tweety Bird's head, sculpted chin on, and sculpted a nose. And then on the inside, I sanded down a stud, so you're able to put a normal minifigure head on here, and it looks really cartoony, which is what I wanted. Now, he doesn't really stand like this, that's why I give him the mallet, but he's still a really cool figure. I love how the paint turned out and everything, and even though he doesn't look like a Lego minifigure where like his legs move and all that kind of fun stuff, he's still just a pretty cool figure, and I'm very happy on how he turned out, and I think it was really good choice on waiting on the Sculpty, so I can make this dude, and his hammer looks oversized as usual. Anyway, that's it for Spider-Ham. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be the true GOAT himself, Spectacular Spider-Man. Now we're getting on into the Spider Society, starting off with Spectacular Spider-Man, and this is actually pretty interesting because Spectacular Spider-Man is probably my most popular video on YouTube, and it probably won't be like that for a couple years now. So making a fully painted figure of this dude was very fun to do, and as you can see right here, I think I did a really good job. Now, there was a lot of versions of this dude that I did. Originally, this was just going to be a plain minifigure that I brick built together. I was going to make an original video on how to step-by-step make a Spectacular Spider-Man figure and paint him and all that stuff. Then I thought it was too hard. So there was just a lot of hard stuff about this dude and getting the eye lenses right and stuff like that. So just making this dude was really hard. And originally I was going to make him have mid-legs, so he was going to be shorter. But I just decided to say screw it and make my own fully painted version. So as you can see, the eyes, I did the best as I possibly can. And this is like the third attempt at me painting this. So I think I did a pretty good job. On the back, as you guys can see, I used the Spider-Man Amazing Friends torso. I use that on a lot of figures. Then I painted on all the detail and the stuff on the front. I painted the simplistic webbing on the boots, which I think turned out really cool, which goes to my next point, which is another thing that I learned on making these figures is webbing on the boots. So you're going to see a lot of figures with webbing on their boots, which I specifically did also go back and paint a lot of figures' boots. So anyway, here he is. He's pretty cool. He does have simplistic webbing on the side of his arms and the back of his head, and he's just a really cool figure. Now, since this is a really tiny figure and they do have a pretty funny scene together, here is Spider-Cat, and we'll just move him off to the side. Here's Spider-Cat, and Spider-Cat is another figure that I redid. I actually did do this on my Instagram, which there's the original photo, and I didn't like the color of it. I thought it was pretty, you know, kind of dark, the skin, so I just decided to go with a lighter color and sculpt as well, some make him a bit more poofy, stuff like that. And I think I did a really good job. This is an amazing Spider Cat, and once again, I'm very happy with how he turned out. And to recreate a great scene in the movie, you can, of course, put Spider Cat kind of holding him like they do on the train, which people slowed down, you could see that. But yeah, I did paint the spider mask, I did paint the spider logo, and I did the best I could to paint the spider logo on the top. I painted it in a dark blue, and yeah, it just turned out really cool. So that is Spider Cat and Spectacular Spider-Man. Overall, these guys turned out really cool, and I'm very happy on how they turned out. Now we're going to take a look at the next figure, which is going to be Popsicle Spider-Man. So here is Popsicle Spider-Man, and here's the reference. I mean, it's just the scene from the first movie, and you might be wondering, why did I make Popsicle Spider-Man? That's a great question. I don't really know why. And the actual reason why I did is because New Rockstars said that Popsicle Spider-Man showed up in this little frame right here, which is actually funny because it looks like the trailer as well. I didn't see him in the actual movie or anything, but it's just so funny how there's an actual Spider-Verse. Like, what is his canon event? It's super funny. Anyway, what I did for this dude is I just took a little stud piece. I don't really know what you would call it, but I did just take a little kind of grabber piece, sculpted on the top, and that's really it. It's just Popsicle Spider-Man. Of course, like you can see, Miles is holding Popsicle Spider-Man. It does look like chicken. Okay, I know it looks like a chicken leg, but it's still pretty cool. I put him on the gray base because my shelves are gray, so it kind of matches because you can't really stand him on his own. But that is it for Popsicle Spider-Man. Now we're going to take a look at the next figure, which is going to be Spider-Man the Animated Series. So here is a very interesting Spider-Person. So we're going to be taking a look at some of the TV show kind of versions. I think I only made a couple, but here is Spider-Man the Animated Series, Spider-Man. Now, I know he doesn't appear in the movie, but once again, I had a bit of free time, so I was able to make this dude. And he does go good with the two goats themselves, which, dang, they just look so cool together. Anyway, I made him. He's pretty cool. Once again, he uses the Spider-Man and his amazing friend's body as a base and then just painted over it and stuff like that. So I did his very kind of simplistic kind of webs. Not really simplistic, but I did the square in the middle. And I also did his cool triangle-shaped eyes, as well as he is actually the base that I use for most of my characters nowadays with the web. So what I do is I do I do kind of 4 lines. So I do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I do a big line across as well as the little top right here, and I kind of just go from there. So yeah, and then I also did paint the webbing on the side of the arms, and I also did decide to do the comic book shading as well, since he has that in the TV show. Now, I don't know why he doesn't appear in the, whoa, that's actually much brighter. I don't know why I didn't go with that. Yeah, I don't even know why I didn't go with that. It's just so much brighter. Anyway, yeah, here he is. He's pretty cool. Of course, you can see the back. I didn't paint any of the webbing on the back of the legs. That's because I just didn't feel like it. So, yeah, that's it for Spider-Man, the animated series. And now we're going to go on to the next version, which is going to be Spider-Man 1967. So here is 1967 Spider-Man, and yes, this is the Firestar order that I was talking about for a couple days now. I don't even know, like a week or two ago, I don't really know. Anyway, here's the camera piece. It's pretty cool. I'll make a Firestar video on this dude eventually. I kind of just wanted him to be a stand-in. Of course, that dude actually, me filming it, of course, I had COVID in it as well. Which kind of sucked. Of course, go check out my other video that I made. I talk all about that. Anyway, this figure is really cool. I love how it turns out. Of course, he made a very hilarious opinion when he, not opinion, a hilarious thing in the movie though, when he was swinging on the stuff with the reused animation, which is pretty funny. And of course, the web boots are really awesome that I got that. So of course, if you want to see that video, of course, I will be coming out with that video soon. And yeah. Anyway, that's it for Spider-Man 1967. Now we're going to be going on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Tobey and Andrew. So here are the next Spider people. These are also the Firestar Haul. So of course I got the arms for Tobey, which is pretty cool, and the arms for Andrew, which I said I was going to be getting from Firestar, which is pretty cool. Of course Tom doesn't appear in this as well, because technically he's not even in the movie. Andrew's actually in his one outfit when Captain Stacy dies and when Uncle Ben dies. So they technically are in the movie, but not really. But I still kind of wanted to throw them in here because they are the two Peters that technically started, I mean, not really started the multiverse, but like did the first ever live action Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse did the first ever Spider-Verse, which is this movie. It's the sequel of this movie. Anyway, now we're going to be going on to the next custom, which is of course going to be Spider-Man PS1. So here is a very interesting custom. This is Spider-Man from Spider-Man PS1, also known as Spider-Man Neversoft. This is the original Spider-Man game that all of you guys grew up in the 90s. A lot of people grew up in the 90s with this game. This is their version of the PS4 Spider-Man that we're growing up with right now. Of course, this was a very fun Spider-Man to make because he had no webbing on him. Of course, he did have him in some scenes, but in most scenes he did not have him. This was a very interesting character to work on because of course he had a lot of shading on him, a lot of shading. He had a lot of shading on his back, on his legs, and a bunch of stuff. So he was just a very fun character to make. I wanted to actually sculpt him original hands that showed him kind of with his boxing glove hands, of course, from the reference that I showed you over here a second ago. Because he didn't actually have open hands, but I thought that was too much and that was like too picky or something like that. And I kind of just wanted this dude to be on his own. I did make this dude originally, but a very small detail is I updated his eyes so they could look better. And this is very cool, and this is a very awesome figure. So of course now we're going to be going on to, speak of the devil, the Spider-Man PS5. So yeah, that's going to be the next character. So here is the Spider-Man PS5, not PS4. A lot of people say PS4, but if you take a look at the scene in the anomalies, he is actually wearing his PS5 suit. So this was really fun to make because I actually did make the PS4. Here is the original PS4. I did make modifications to it, but it looked very similar to this. But I decided to go all out with this one, and I guess you could say this is my Spider-Man 2 custom. So I had a lot of fun making this dude. Of course, some details on him are, of course, the dots that run all over this dude on his legs and everything. He is just a very detailed figure, and I, of course, did the dark blue on the back. The white spider turned out awesome. I've been working on Spider-Man figures for a long time. That making the symbol came easy out when making this dude again, which is pretty cool. Of course, I also did the eyes as well, kind of updated them. They are the original kind of Spider-Man eyes, but I did add the white in them and kind of got rid of the techie look that they had and made them more Spider-Man-y, I guess you could say. I did the boots as well, which is pretty cool, on the back as well. Did I do them on the inside? I kind of did them on the inside. But I really love how this turned out. Of course, the dot detailing is super cool, the mesh that he had on him. And yeah, this is just a really awesome Spider-Man. Probably one of my best that I've done, to be honest, not to toot my own horn. But anyway, now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is, of course, going to be Japanese Spider-Man. So here's Japanese Spider-Man. He's probably one of my least favorites just because of his head. I don't really like how his head turned out. I tried to do the best where I could do of his eyes. Of course, here's the reference over here. I probably showed a couple minutes ago. But, of course, recently I just sculpted his little thing on here, which originally, I think the last time, well, not really the last time you guys saw him, but originally I had a handcuff on here, which I didn't really like, as well as I also did paint the boots, which the little shoes as well, I painted those on, which he turned out really cool. I love how the Japanese Spider-Man turned out, especially his boots. They're probably my favorites. I did use the, this is kind of a basic figure though, the torso and arms are used from just the original Spider-Mans. I just painted the logo on there, which is pretty cool. And the eyes turned out really awesome as well. Anyway, that's it for the Spider-Man from the Japanese TV show. Of course, we're not really done with him yet. We're going to take a look at his mech Leopardon, even though I think I've shown you guys it already, but still, let's just take a look at it. So here is Leopardon. I made a full-on video for this dude, but if you guys want this dude like right now, he's pretty cool. I made a shield for him, a sword. This was a very awesome custom that I did a while ago in another Spider-Verse video, but I still just love how this turned out. And of course, he does have posability in his legs and his arms. You're able to still remove all these things on here, and he just looks so cool with Japanese Spider-Man right there. I mean, just look how cool that looks. It's just super cool. And of course, like in the show, you're able to take his stuff off on the top, and it's able to fly around. And it's just a really awesome custom. Even though Japanese Spider-Man is still not in the movie, he's going to be in the sequel. I don't even know if I'm going to be like still doing Lego customs when the sequel comes out. So I just decided to throw him in here because who cares? And if I do it in the future, who knows, I might make a better mech or something. So here is the Leopardon and Japanese Spider-Man. Now we're going to move on to the next one, which is of course going to be SPDR since we're already at this scale. So here is SPDR now. One of the things that I really love about making this is her new suit in the movie. I know it's really weird. Here's the reference that I have for it right here. I know it's a really weird kind of custom, but here I actually do have the Into the Spider-Verse version still. In case you don't want this, you can have the one from the Spider-Verse movie, which I still have, which is pretty cool. I still love this design. The movie one and the comic one just looks kind of stupid. But this does have a lot of posability. You're able to move the arms and stuff like that. The legs are really stiff, but they're like this in the movie. It's just a really weird thing, but it's still pretty cool. Anyway, you can kind of see I did paint on the front right here and the top as well. The head is kind of sculpted to match the movie. And you're able to take this off the front and you're able to move it up to show the Peni Parker, which is pretty cool. So there she is. It's pretty cool. She's in there. I have already shown you Peni Parker, but I'm not going to fully take her out since this is a pretty long video. But there she is. She's pretty cool. It's just the Peni Parker figure that I've been using. I wanted to paint her a new face, but I didn't. And I didn't make her in her new Spider-Verse 2 outfit just because I couldn't. I don't know why. I just didn't want to. But who cares? It's still pretty cool. But yeah. I guess since she's loose already, here you go. There she is. She's pretty cool. She uses the knockoff head and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool figure that I made of her a long time ago. It's pretty cool. I don't think I showed off the back or anything, but yeah, there you go. Pretty cool figure. Once again, just I don't like her suit in the movie. It's just kind of stupid. I did put like this weird sculpted thing right here. I don't know why I did that. I think just to make it bulk up a little bit. Nothing there that's kind of iffy or anything. And I do like the painted thing on the back as well. It's pretty cool. And yeah, just a really awesome figure that I made for this showcase. So yeah, now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider-Man Unlimited. So here is Spider-Man Unlimited. I kind of forgot about him with the TV show stuff, but his show is actually kind of forgettable, so I guess it's kind of funny. But here's Spider-Man Unlimited. The last time you guys saw me was actually a Purist Custom. Now I full on decided to go with a painted figure, which I took a lot of inspiration from, once again, Potato Main. Shout out to that dude, oh my god. I did a lot of customs from him, if you guys can't tell. Anyway, I did paint the back of the torso and all the detail that he has on the TV show. It's a really cool suit. I really like how it turned out. I love the blue shading that I did. The head is actually a knockoff Amazing Spider-Man head, but without all the webbing. This was just a worn down head that I used for any figure who didn't have webbing on it, that just had the Spider-Man eyes. I think it's pretty cool though. It's pretty awesome. I love how it turned out. The web cape is truly really cool. That was a knockoff that I got from Spider-Man 2099, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that is it for Spider-Man Unlimited. Now we're going to go on to the Alex Ross suit Spider-Man. So here is the Alex Ross suit Spider-Man, and a lot of people are scratching their head like, where was this in the movie? This was a background character. Yes, I even made background characters for this showcase. So I know this dude looks like he has like a lot of light gray, like, I don't know what you would call that, but this is shading. I did a lot of shading on this dude just to make him look cool and stuff like that. Did a lot of shading on his back as well. I really love how his spider turned out. But this is the suit that looks and obviously inspired the Superior Spider-Man suit, I think, and was also a design that one of the character designers really liked. So he's in the movie. If you look very closely, he's actually in the movie a lot. So I sculpted the gauntlets on the side, painted all the detail on him, used the original, just the normal Spider-Man head that I use for a lot of people. I used them on the PS4 suit and stuff like that. Just painted the eyes black with the little white dots in it to kind of make it look like the suit. So I also did the light gray suit outlines. Maybe I shouldn't have done it that dark, but I mean light, but still looks really cool. You know who it is if you know the suit, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't make Superior Spider-Man in this or Silk. He wasn't really in the movie. Maybe he'll be in the sequel. Who knows? Anyway, that's it for Alex Ross Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next one, which is of course going to be Anya Corazon. So here is Anya Corazon Spider-Man, and you're probably wondering, where was this in the movie? This is once again another background character that appears for one shot, and you don't even have any back reference. You know how sucky that is? You're going to see a lot of characters like that in a couple minutes. Actually, maybe in the next figure, who knows? Anyway, this was really fun to make because I took a lot of inspiration from Chris Anka, which of course is the character designer who I was talking about earlier. He has a really cool Instagram. He kind of helped. Yeah, he helped me a lot with making the figure, which is pretty cool. The helmet is really awesome. I love how it turned out. And just the detail, the sculpt, just everything is very fun to do. The back looks very awesome as well. But one of the things that was really improvised was the helmet. The helmet is actually different than the concept art than it is in the actual movie. So I had to guess what these spikes are doing on the back, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, anyway, you're probably wondering what helmet I used. I actually used a helmet that's going to appear later in the video. This is actually a knockoff kind of Spider-Man helmet. I'll tell you guys when it pops up again. But I just sculpted the bottom, kind of sanded it a little bit, painted the eyes, which look really awesome, and it's just a super cool figure. I think maybe I should have bulked out the figure a bit more because she is pretty bulky in the movie. But yeah, I really love how this figure turned out, and it's really cool. So yeah, that is it for Anya Corazon Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spinneret. So here is Spinneret. She is one of the things that I was talking about at the beginning of her video. If I didn't, then she is a figure that I took a Spider-Man torso and just painted on top of it, which it's not bad. It just kind of looks kind of bad on the back, but I just took that torso so I could take a full-on white version of this suit, which I think I did a pretty good job. The hairpiece, I actually came up with the hairpiece, even though the head doesn't want to come out. There we go. But this hairpiece is actually looks a lot like her hair in the I forget the comic book or the movie, I guess you could say. But this is Hermione's hairpiece from the anniversary thing. I don't remember. Here's a photo of what she looks like, and of course it looks really good. I'm very happy on how that looks on top of her, and of course you can see with the Black Widow head, it just looks really awesome. Just looks like her, and of course she does have the suit that she wears in the movie. Now, of course, I would cut it and say the next character is Mayday Parker, but since they are daughter and mother, I just decided, hey, why not? Let me just throw it in here. So here's the next figure, Mayday Parker. She is the daughter of Spinneret. She, of course, has a sculpted torso, sculpted arms, armbands, knee pads, everything that you could ask for. Of course, this hairpiece, the braids where I got this from, is actually from Anna from Frozen. Yes, I had to sand all that off to get those pigtails. Then I used a bicycle helmet on her, and then I sculpted on the glasses and everything, and then sculpted on the logo, and the shoes look really cool as well. And if you move her head on the back, she also does have a painted spider logo, which is pretty bad, but you can barely see it because of her pigtails. And of course, that took a really long time for that to stay in there. So yeah, and the webbing on the helmet, ridiculous as heck to do. So there she is. There is Spinneret and Mayday Parker. I think I maybe should have used mid-legs, but I mean, not mid-legs, short legs, but who cares? She still looks pretty cool. Anyway, that's it for Spinneret and Mayday Parker. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, or Spiderling actually is her name, which I completely forgot about. And yeah, now we're going to go on to the next character, which is of course going to be Sun Spider. So here is Sun Spider, and she was pretty fun to make. Now she's one of the figures. Here, oh, there's Spiderling's legs. But here is the original version of her. I actually still have her torso because she was one of the figures that I actually kind of was like mad on remaking her, because of course, as you guys can see, I sculpted on the hood on the back, but she was the only figure that did that. So of course, here she is. She's really cool. She has her crutches, which are just guns and stuff like that. I didn't make her a really cool brick-built wheelchair that turned into a spider. I just thought that was too much. But I kept her arms, her sculpted arms and her legs. I just changed her torso once again. But oh my god, her arms was popping off. I don't know why, but that's kind of weird. Anyway, I kind of just wanted to move her arms. Why can't I move her arms? Anyway, she has the sleeves on and stuff like that. Of course, she does have her knee pads, which I sculpted on as well. Her hat, I painted all the webbing on, which is pretty cool, as well as her face. Now, I know in the movie she kind of looks orange, but I went with gold because I just thought it would look cool. So there she is. And of course, her sleeves kind of cover it up, but I did paint the torso underneath, which is pretty cool, as well as the hood, which is kind of not my best hood. I don't know why, it just didn't look that good, but who cares? It still works. It kind of looks kind of like a, I don't even know what you would call that. But her legs, I actually used the firefighter legs, which I thought I would never use, but I was like, hey, who cares? Let me use them because I know that I'm never going to use these legs in the future. Just because they had the orange on there, so I decided to go with that. Of course, I did also paint the gold on the inside of the legs. I love this gold that's here. It's kind of like a muted gold, not the gold that I used on the actual figure because it makes it look more shiny, which I kind of didn't like that, but there was nothing really I could do. Of course, I cut the jacket down to make it look more like it is in the movie. But yeah, that's it for the Sun Spider, also known as Charlotte Weber. And yeah, she's pretty cool. If you want to know how I know all these facts, it's because I watched New Rock Stars, because they're really cool. And I had to watch them a lot of times so I could literally get every single Spider person that was in the movie, except some, which you're going to know who isn't in the movie, but who cares? I think the only Spider-Verse person, don't be disappointed that I didn't put in here, was Therapist Spider-Man. It's literally just Spider-Man in a suit. I know I made literally people who show up on the screen for 5 seconds and literally people who aren't even in the movie. Let me get, where are they? People that aren't even in the movie, but I just didn't want to make Therapist Spider-Man, okay? I was running out of parts. It's Therapist Spider-Man, okay? Chill, people. Anyway, here is Charlotte Weber. That's it for her. Now we're going to go on to the next person, which is, of course, going to be... Who should we go with? Let's go with Werewolf Spider-Man. Yeah, next figure is going to be Werewolf Spider-Man. This is the next figure, Werewolf Spider-Man. I really love how he turned out. Of course, on the torso, you can actually see a bit of tan stuff on there. Let me actually get rid of that real quick. Kind of editing while I'm going. Anyway, the werewolf head is very weather damaged in the tan. It's pretty cool. The tail as well is weather damaged as well in tan. Now, I took a lot of inspiration originally from Potato Mean. Once again, you should totally check out that video, or this werewolf's going to come after you. He's going to eat you because you totally deserve it. Anyway, go check out his video. He's actually like, his Spider-Verse characters are probably the best that I've ever seen. I mean, mine are really cool, but his are just like, whoa, that's crazy. Anyway, here he is. Pretty cool. I love how he turned out. I used the Spider-Ham torso, werewolf head, and then just painted the red on top and all the tan and all that good stuff that is just so cool and just makes Spider-Verse characters look super cool. Anyway, that's it for Werewolf Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next character, which is, of course, going to be Doppelganger. So here is Doppelganger, and I actually made a video on this dude. A video you haven't seen yet. Once again, part of the Firestar videos, technically. I don't really know what. But it's part of the videos where, yeah, Doppelganger, I actually made a video on. So what the video was going to be is showing you how to make these 4 arms. So what you do is, before we talk about all this stuff in the original, of course, here's the original, by the way. I don't even think I have the original photo or anything. I'll try to find something that looks like it, though. And you can actually see I did a lot of stuff to this dude to make him really cool. So like I said originally, the arms are actually using the Outrider neck bracket piece, which I completely forgot to paint this red. Who cares, though? I don't really care. It still looks pretty cool. I guess you could say it's webbing. I'm not really going to go back and paint it or anything. But what I did is I just cut minifigure arms off, replaced them with clip pieces that would go in here, and they would just clip on, and you would be able to move the arms. If you want this video to be released, I still have the footage from it, so I could take it and share it to you guys if you guys really want to know how to make a doppelganger. Hopefully DD's Bricks is watching this because he was really obsessed with making the perfect doppelganger, and hopefully he can see this and be like, wow, that is really awesome, and you should totally watch it, because you should, because it's really cool. This is a really cool doppelganger. I'm very proud of how this dude turned out. Anyway, Spider-Verse Spider-Man classic torso. I use it on a lot of Spider figures, and the arms are just the red, painted on all the stuff with red, and then the webbing and stuff like that. Went over with all the hands and sculpted on his little talons that he had. Didn't do that originally. Also sanded a Spider-Man face, sculpted the mouth, as well as repainted the eyes and painted the teeth, which is really hard to do, but actually turned out really cool. Anyway, he also has his toes and his back toes. Didn't paint the back though, but still, it's pretty cool. And I'm very happy of my new doppelganger than the original. Yeah, overall, this new doppelganger turned out amazing. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is, of course, going to be the Bombastic Bag-Man. Here is the Bombastic Bag-Man, and he was very fun to make. He was actually probably one of my first customs that I made for this showcase, actually. Of course, he uses a brick as a head. I know I didn't use the Minecraft helmet, which a lot of people would use, but I didn't have access to it. I mean, I did, but I had access to 2 of them, but 2 of them I actually like on those figures, like the Tesseract and then the box that is on No Way Home. So I just decided to use a brick, and even though it's not like this in the movie, I actually kind of forgot. I did put cuts in the brick to make it look like a paper bag, even though it's kind of just like a brick on his head. I still think it adds texture to it, as well as I decided to add the Band-Aid dots, because that's actually one of his features he has in the movie, is he just has a ton of dots on him, which I think turned out really awesome, and I love all the blues and the whites and all the colors, and I did decide to put some on the boots, on the feet. So yeah, overall I think the Bombastic Bag-Man turned out really cool, and he definitely does look like he came out of like a drawing. So anyway, that's it for the Bombastic Bag-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next character, which is of course going to be Flash Thompson Spider-Man. So here is Flash Thompson Spider-Man. He is another one of my least favorites, kind of. Here is the original photo of him. The torso was wrong because his Letterman's jacket's actually darker. I love his everything but his face. I do believe that if I had this Spider-Man face, it'd probably turn out way better. I just don't like how I did it. I think it turned out like okay, but it's not the best. I love the hairpiece too. I love the arms and the legs, everything except the mouth. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I couldn't do anything to master it though, but who cares? Anyway, of course you can see the inside of the jacket, which is just the red torso just painted. And I took the Letterman jacket, painted on that on the front, and the spider logo on the back, as well as the red lines that go everywhere on the arms, and on the boots that I also did paint the webbing on the boots. So yeah, that is it for Flash Thompson Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman. So here is Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman. Now, one of the fun facts that I actually did kind of last minute is I changed the torso. The original torso was the Venom torso, just the full-on Venom torso. Then I remembered that I painted this on and it looks more accurate to her look in the movie. So I decided to go with this, and hey, it looks awesome, so I just went with it. Anyway, here is Julia Carpenter. Of course, I took a plain black torso, painted on the white spider. Her face as well, I don't really like how her face turned out as well with the painted mouth. I'm just not good at painted faces, that's kind of it. The white arms look great, the white hands as well. The black legs look great, as well as the legs where I just painted the black legs with the white little rims on him, which yes, it's like that in the movie. I don't know why either. There's not even any webbing on her, which is pretty strange. I don't know why. I also gave her a red hairpiece, which isn't really that accurate, but it still works really well. Anyway, now we're going to go on to Samurai Spider-Man. So here is Samurai Spider-Man, and this dude's suit was super cool in the movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about this dude right here. Yes, he was in kind of some scenes. He was on the poster. He did like a bunch of really cool things. If you see him on the poster, he did like one of these things where he like was doing like one of those. I don't really know what, but he looks really cool. Now, one of the hardest things about this dude was the back. I finally found reference for his back in one shot. I'm not going to show you guys because it's not going to be the clearest image. Because of course it's not going to look that good, but trust me, I found the back. That's what the back looks like. I found it in one shot. He's kind of like ducking under. It's when Miles whips the guy underneath and kind of traps all the spider people there. He's going under and you can barely see his spider logo, but still it's there and I love it. Anyway, this hairpiece is the Widow's Peak hairpiece, which I took the Wild Style hairpiece, cut the ponytail off, sculpted it on here, sculpted on his little white things. Let me remove his knife. His sword. Then I took the Lex Luthor face, sculpted on his little mouth thing, as well as I took a whole minifigure, this is before I learned trench coats, and just sculpted on all of his robes that he has on, which I think turned out really cool. I also sculpted on the side of his arms as well to kind of give him the bandages and stuff like that. Not the bandages, kind of like the armor. And then I also painted all the inside of him and the back as well with the spider logo I talked about and the white trim as well that wraps all the way around him. And I am just very happy on how Samurai Spider-Man turned out. He's such a weird character. I needed to put him in this video because he's just really cool looking. Anyway, that's it for Samurai Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spidercide. So here is Spidercide. Now, like Spider-Man 2099, he is the only other figure in here who uses extended legs. I think he deserved it, so I decided to give him to him, and they look really cool. Of course, this doesn't actually look that good on the back. Whoa, that is really bad. Whoa, did I not actually catch that? Oh, I thought it was actually indented, like, you know, like how it looks indented? No, it's just the paint. Wow, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, this is a pretty, it's still pretty cool. Yeah, look, it's paint. But that kind of scared me for a second. Anyway, here is Spidercide. In the comics, he has like a weird mouth. Thank God they got rid of that. Anyway, so what I did is for his arms, I just took minifigure arms. And let me see if I remove his hands, which I can. And of course, something did fall off this side. Thank God it didn't spill anywhere. But of course, I just took some minifigure arms, painted on his biceps that he has on, as well as I took a tan minifigure hand actually, and just sculpted on the glove on the inside, just so he could have his gloves that he has on in the movie, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I think I did it kind of at an angle too much, so that kind of sucks. But hey, it's okay. But yeah, he does have his fist, pretty cool. He also does have his legs, which I did paint the red on it. And on the back is, of course, as you can see, just looks really cool. So there is Spidercide, really awesome figure. Love how he turned out. And if he could stand for a second, thank you. And now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is, of course, going to be the Last Stand Spider-Man. So here is Last Stand Spider-Man. He is probably one of my least favorites just because of his face. I don't like how his glasses turned out, but I still think it's pretty cool. Now, what I did is I just took a red torso, painted on all the detailing. Of course, once again, the reference is going to be on the side. But then he also does have the red, which I did paint on the black arms as well. Painted on the back logo and the high collar as well. And, of course, painted the belly, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, he is really awesome. I love how he turned out. He's just a really awesome, just cool character. And I just left the legs black. And, yeah, he's really awesome. Anyway, that is it for Last Stand Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is, of course, going to be Tarantula. So here's Tarantula. Fun fact, the video that I made was actually showing you how to make her arms. So here she is. Of course, if we take Doppelganger, there's the same figures that use the 4 arms technique, which, of course, once again, this actually looks cooler because they're all in black. But I just took a black clip once again, sculpted the arm on there, and there you go. That's really it. So, of course, this is literally just a black suit Spider-Man, but just with multiple arms. Love how this figure turned out, of course. Once again, you're able to move the arms, which is really awesome, as well on the outside as well. It looks really cool, and I think LEGO should make a new piece like this. I don't think LEGO will ever make this, though, just because it just doesn't seem likely. But that is it for Tarantula. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is, of course, going to be Spider-Man 2211. So here is Spider-Man 2211. I hear this is Max Bourne. I hear he helps Miguel O'Hara a lot in the comic books, which is pretty cool. They actually kind of look cool together. He does show up in 2 scenes. If you don't know who he is, well, let me just refresh your memory real quick. Let's take Miles and just put him on his back. You still don't know who this dude is? Oh, okay, let me just show you a reference photo. This is the guy. He was on Miles's back, which is pretty cool. Anyway, his arms are much thicker. I don't think I should have made these this thick. I made them really huge, though. They were like as big as Doc Ock's arms. Then I figured out, hey, this doesn't look good, so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to cut them down a little bit. So they might be thicker than they should be, but who cares? Anyway, taking off his neck bracket, he does use just clips. I didn't use minifigure hands or anything because I didn't have enough in red. Of course, I did paint his spider logo on the back. He does have the little gauntlets on the side with the red as well, and the back looks really bad, but you never see that because of this neck bracket. And yeah. As well as the head is actually a boxing glove helmet that I sculpted the eyes and the chin strap and everything. And I just used dual molded red legs. Originally I had painted legs. Those legs I think were actually Doppelganger's legs, but for Doppelganger we're sculpting these on so they would never be used again. You can actually use these legs on someone else in the future if you like. So that is it for Spider-Man 2211. Now we're going to go on to Cyborg Spider-Woman. Okay, so here is Cyborg Spider-Woman. This is a very, very, very fun character, and I actually made her at the very beginning. So here is some of the reference photos. I'm just going to put them over here right now. This was a very complicated figure to make, and I almost love this figure. I think I don't really love the arm that much. I think I could have done better on the arm, even though the arm is like really, I don't know, I just don't like how it turned out. It just kind of looks a bit stiff and weird. But still, I think I did pretty good on it. It looks really awesome. I love the head that I used is actually a minifigure head. So if you like, you can actually remove it and it's a minifigure head up here, which this is actually a Clone Wars head. I wanted to go with a small minifigure head on top, and I thought this was bad because I sculpted, I literally had like this right here for a long time, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. As soon as I saw this Clone Wars helmet, as soon as I saw this Clone Wars helmet, and I was like, oh my god, this is it. So I sanded off that thing at the top, sculpted the thing on the front, and it looks amazing, and I think it did better than Potato Means, but he still did great. I think his arm is infinitely better than mine. I would take his arm over mine. Mine is just really just kind of bulky and big, but who cares? Sculpted the stuff on the legs and stuff like that, little stuff. Also painted all this detailing on here, as well as the arm, as well as painting the webbing, which is pretty cool. Actually looks really better than the actual ones on the minifigure arms because it's a bigger model. Toothpicks, so don't break these, they're toothpicks. The head kind of moves, so you can kind of get her in positions and stuff like that. Here she was going to have a bigger role. The concept art's actually incredible for her. Here they are. It's actually supposed to be a he at first, which it is in the comic books. My favorite is the one that kind of looks like the one with the flesh arm. This one, I don't really know which one, but I guess I'll blow the photo up right now. That one's my favorite. Of course, it has a lot of fake chain on here as well. I don't really like how the back turned out because I think I should have removed these. I kind of messed up on the chain back here. You can kind of tell it's a Clone Wars helmet from back here. But here's also this stuff back here, the arm and everything. I messed up on this arm like a couple times. I don't really know. It's okay. I did the belt as well, which wraps all the way around. So that is Cyborg Spider-Woman. I love how this figure turned out. It's pretty cool. Anyway, now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider-Monkey. So, this is probably what you wanted for Spider-Ham. Anyway, this is Spider-Monkey. So, back to what I said, Spider-Ham, this is probably the size that you wanted. They're kind of the same size, not gonna lie. If he stands up, they're the same size, so who cares? Anyway, here is Spider-Monkey. I'm just gonna bring him up here. This is a fully sculpted body that I did, and I think I did a really good job on capturing on the movie, which of course, once again, the reference over here. The face took a really long time. I didn't think I would nail the face this well, but I think I did a really good job. I think the red is darker than it should be, but who cares? I really do love the arms right here, which they just look really cool. And yeah, you're able to move them around and kind of pose them. What I usually do on the display is I kind of usually put him on Spider-Monkey. I mean, put Cyborg Spider-Monkey on Cyborg Spider-Woman. Wow, that's a mouthful. But yeah, I think they look really cool together. But they never make an interaction in the movie. But still, I love the eyes and everything. It's just really cool. The tail as well. And I did paint the spider logo on the back. It's just a really cool piece, and it works really well. And of course, yes, you can take it and recreate another scene in the movie with this. You can put it on his face, even though it's a bit too big, but Lego is oversized. Originally, I wanted to get the Lego monkey piece that people used originally with the minifigure arms, and then I was like, I don't want to order that thing, so that's kind of what this is inspired off of, if you can kind of tell. But yeah, that's it for Spider-Monkey. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is, of course, going to be Metro Boomin Spider-Man. So, here is Metro Boomin Spider-Man. Once again, he was another character who used the original cape thing, and yeah, I think I did a really great job on him, and I really love this new Metro Boomin Spider-Man. I just thought his suit was awesome in the movie. But first off, let's talk about his dreads, because his dreads look really good. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong or anything, but let's just talk about his hair, because his hair was really fun to make. So the original hairpiece was actually this hairpiece right here. What I did is I kind of sanded it down a little bit. I don't know if I did. I think I did. And then I sculpted each individual dread, kind of rolling them up a little bit, and then just painting the tan and black and everything. And then I also did paint his headband as well. Now, this hairpiece is actually fused to the head, so you cannot take the head off of this, which is a great sacrifice that I'm willing to take. This head is actually Spider-Man and his amazing friend's ghost spider head, which I think turned out really cool. So removing the head right now, taking a look at it, pretty cool. I love how it turned out. It turned out amazing. Everything I wanted from it. Anyway, here is the torso. I painted the arrow type thing, kind of tried to get it as close as possible, because when he has the jacket on, you can't even tell that he's even wearing an arrow or anything, which I did take a look at the reference from Chris Uncut as well. Now, as you guys can see, I kind of ruined the stuff with the hairpiece, but since it's covered over it, you can barely see it, so I don't really care. But yeah, it's still bad, but who cares? Anyway, I don't like the arm things on the spiders on the side or the back. I tried my hardest to do it, but it's just a hard spider to nail. Anyway, I did his little necklace thing as well. I also did the zipper as well as the webbing on the boots, and I painted the black legs and all that fun stuff. So that's it for Metro Boomin Spider-Man. Overall, I think I did a really great job, and he's probably one of my favorites. I also did paint the black on the hands, but yeah, you guys already saw that. Anyway, that is it for Metro Boomin Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is going to be Mangaverse Spider-Man. So, Mangaverse Spider-Man, Mangaverse Spider-Man, whatever, the Spider-Man with the boxing glove, this is a very cool character. This is actually based on the movie version. Originally, it was based on this. This is the actual comic book, so if you want to know what my comic book version would look like, there it is. It literally wouldn't change. But here he is. He is really awesome. I love this new version that I made of him. He's really cool. Anyway, so one of the things is I used the original torso underneath, and I made a trench coat for him. I went over it, I stopped it, and then sculpted over, kind of to make it look like the sensei wraps or whatever, I don't know what you would call it. Then I took the original arms as well. I painted on the black and just painted on, I don't think I painted on the white, I think that was the original stuff. And then the head is just the Spider-Man and his amazing friend's head. I just painted on the black. This was originally probably going to be Spectacular Spider-Man head. But that didn't happen. Then he has the wrap around his legs, which of course goes all the way around, as you guys can see, as well as the white on his mid legs, which is pretty cool. I didn't give him his little weapon that he has in the movie, just because I didn't want to. He does have his also little boxing glove as well, which is pretty cool, which kind of look like crab claws, which you're going to see that with another figure probably in just a minute. But also he has his backpack, which I think his backpack is removable, which it is. So if you like, you can take it off, which it is kind of hard to take off because it's just such a tight thing on here. But here you go. It's my original backpack that I had. I just added the straps on here and also painted his logo, which is pretty cool. So there it is, and then you just put it on his back like that. So that's it for Mangaverse Spider-Man while I stall and put his bag back on, but he doesn't really have any back stuff. Overall, I had to change this figure, as well as the gloves. The original ones were the Spider-Man handcuff stuff, if you saw them already. But yeah, that is it for Mangaverse Spider-Man. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is going to be Peni Parker, also known as another Scarlet Spider. So here is Kaine, and this is based on the Across the Spider-Verse. Once again, this photo right here. You can only see his back though, so I did see some reference of his front. I don't really like the back spider that much. I think it turned out okay. But I did do a lot of the stitching on the arms and everything to make him look like he is in the movie, which I really thought that idea was awesome, and I wish they explored more. Didn't really put him as a real background character, because he is in the movie, he's just in the background a lot. But the head is the knockoff Venom head. I don't know if I could find a photo, but it was my original Venom head that I had for a very long time. Then I painted the torso, which he is actually from my Lego Marvel Collections. I just recently redid his spider logo on the front. I also took these Wolverine claws, cut them all off to make his stingers, which I think I did a really good job over, and I also did paint the black on the arms, and all that fun good stuff. No in-between legs or anything. I don't think he needed it. And that is it for Peni Parker, also known as the Scarlet Spider. I wish he was in the movie more. Hopefully he's in the sequel. He's a really cool character. I really like how he turned out. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider-Knight. So here's Spider-Knight, Prince of Arachne, whatever you want to call her. You can barely see this outfit in the movie, okay? This is the only scene that I could ever find. There is no back reference. So the back reference is just Cyborg. There is no back reference, okay? Whoever made the art for the movie, please release back reference. And also, a couple other characters I really wanted to make was like Mexican Spider-Man and a bunch of other Spider people that I really wanted to make, but they barely are in the movie. Anyway, here is the Spider-Knight. The helmet is actually can come off, and this is a reused head that I used on someone else, but she is actually look like this in the movie, which is pretty cool from the unmasked shot that we saw that I just showed you. But the helmet was actually supposed to flip up, but the sculpted pieces wouldn't allow that, so there you go. Anyway, I did sculpt the ponytail piece on here as well, and the armor piece I just sculpted on these sides, and of course I also did paint the little webs on here. I painted the sword, sculpted the front right here as well, painting that. The thing underneath is just Cyborg, but who cares? The legs are just, I sculpted this little thing right here, as well as the sculpted these little fans pieces as well, which you can barely see, but there they are, as well as these things on the back of the legs, and the little silver at the bottom right there. So that is it for the Prince of Arachne. Overall, wish I had more reference, but still turned out really cool. And yeah, I really love how this figure turned out. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider-Man, Spider UK. So here is Spider UK. Really cool figure. The face is a reuse that I used from Miles Morales. So I used all the Spider-Man His Amazing Friends head. I just really love how this turned out, which I think I can remove the head. No, which I can't actually. So yeah, that's what I used. Now for her, I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry if I don't know what it's called, but I don't even want to try. But she does wear this in the movie. Lego has never made it before in their life, which sucks. I wish they did, but I had to make it myself. So what I did is I took a hood piece, I sanded off, so it's actually the Lego hood pieces and the Ghost Spider ones. I sanded it off, and then after that, I took the scarf piece, I cut it off from this side, and then I sculpted it onto this side, so you can't really take, when you take it off, it's just going to be stuck on here, which who cares. Then I took the white arms and then painted the dark blue and everything on there, and then as well, I also gave her a mini waist cape, which is pretty cool, which I didn't have, like, originally. It was just, like, I don't know, I think it was just painted underneath here, which... yeah, I didn't have it on here originally. I love how I have it on here because it looks more accurate. Also do have the spider on the back. Forgot to sand that. Who cares though? And then as well as she does have dual molded dark blue and red legs, which is pretty cool. So there is Spider UK. Sorry that I don't remember what it is. I probably put a definition of what it is on top. I just don't want to mispronounce it or anything. But I really do think LEGO should make this piece in real life because it would be useful for some customs like this character, Spider UK. So now we're going to go on to the next character, which is of course going to be Spider-Woman. So here is Spider-Woman, and this is a very, very, very interesting figure. So as you guys can see, this is a very Spider-Woman. This is really just called Spider-Woman. This used to be Jessica Drew, and then I saw her more in the movie, and yes, I did do pronounced things that I didn't do for any other character. If you notice it, you notice it, but don't look up this Spider-Woman, okay? Please don't look it up, okay? You're not gonna have a good time, okay? People just, this is family friendly channel, okay? Family friendly, all right? This is a family friendly channel, okay? Family friendly, okay? Just, if you look up the Spider-Woman, let's just say that the person who actually designed this was really cool because they decided to do different body types and anybody could be Spider-Man. So I'll leave it at that, okay? I'll leave it at that, okay? Just don't look up this Spider-Woman, okay? Anyway, she is really cool. I really love her design in the movie. I used the Wonder Woman hairpiece, kind of sculpted all this stuff on here, as well as the top and the little red at the top as well. I took the head, which is basically the Lamort, I don't remember what it's called, but it's the really cool fighting head. I don't know, but it was from a bike set. Painted all the detailing on, sculpted the front, sculpted the back as well. I don't think the back was needed to be sculpted, but I also sculpted the spider as well, which you can't see at all, which was very cool, I guess, because I don't think I like the back that much. Anyway, there is Spider-Woman. Wish she had a name because she was in the movie a lot. Like, just look for her outfit. I already showed you guys a photo of what she'd look like. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There is Spider-Woman. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider Armor Mark 1. So here is Spider Armor Mark 1. We're going to go through the Spider Armors next, since I've made all 3 of them. But here is the helmet that I was talking about earlier. Now, I think I was going to use them for other figures, which I did. I used them for one other figure in this showcase. But this is the one that I used for, you guessed it, the, what's-it-face? Anya Corazon. That's it. So this Anya Corazon, I used the same helmet, but I actually did modify this one as well. Sanded off the back since the helmet is super unique. Painted the whole thing silver, painted the webbings, also sculpted on the front and the arms and the back as well, sculpted the spider, painted all that with the webbing and everything, on the boots as well, on the sides, and I think this is a really cool figure, and I'm very happy on how Spider Armor Mark 1 turned out. So that's it for Spider Armor Mark 1. Now we're going to go on to the next character, who's of course going to be Spider Armor Mark 2. So here is the next figure we have, is of course going to be the Spider Armor Mark 2, as well as the bulletproof suit. So this is a fully just hand painted figure by me. I just took the gold and painted the silver and all that fun stuff on here. Of course painted the gold lines on the back as well, and just did all the silver and painting on here. So yeah, pretty simple. I just did all that. It's a pretty simple custom, not really anything like hard about it. But yeah, now we're going to go on to the Spider Armor Mark 3. Here's the Spider Armor Mark 3. Now, the last of the armors that I finished was actually the Spider Armor Mark 1. This one was, I think, one of the first ones that I did. This one was really hard to do, though. This is the full-on helmet, though. I think this is actually, I don't remember which helmet this is, though, but I think I sculpted it on the inside because it was really loose. But this is the Spider Armor Mark 3, also known as the Ends of the Earth suit. Now, I just sculpted on the front right here, as well as painting the spider. Really happy on how the spider turned out, as well as the back. Really happy on how that turned out as well as the little things on the side of his arms, the painted boots, as well as on the sides. I just really love how this figure turned out, and really cool. So that's really it for the suit. Of course, it also does have the silver on the back as well. And the little thing on the front. So that is it for the Spider Armor Mark 3, also known as the Ends of the Earth suit. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider-Byte. Now I know Spider-Byte probably should have been at the beginning, so who knows, maybe I'm editing her at the beginning. But here is Spider-Byte, and she turned out okay. She's not my favorite, just because she's just a really difficult figure. If I could, I would have used the full clear figure, but I don't have access to that. So what I did is I sculpted this hairpiece, the little buns on top of this helmet right here. I did use the face that I used for the Spider Knight right here, which is basically this face right here, this expression, which is the Shuri head. And I just did that on this figure, and then I painted all the detail on her, as well as the back. The back is really bad. Just an okay figure, not my favorite, but I still think I did a pretty good job on the figure. So that's it for Spider-Byte. Pretty cool. Probably one of my least favorites, but yeah, she turned out really cool. Anyway, now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is Maybelle Reilly. So here is Maybelle Reilly. I don't even know if she's related to Ben Reilly, but of course she does have the torso is fully painted by me, as well as the arms and the legs. The helmet, I think, is fully, yep, the helmet is stuck to the head, so it cannot come off. So the back of the torso has nothing on it at all, because I didn't find any back torso printing. But I did sculpt the helmet, as well as the eye pieces as well. And she does have the fingerless gloves and all that fun stuff. And she also does have paint on the back and on the inside of her legs. So overall, she turned out to be a really cool character. Really love how she turned out. Love her gold arms. And yeah, that is it for Maybelle Reilly, Spider-Woman. And now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider-Canada. So here is Spider-Canada. She is a really, really cool character. We also do have GB Spider-Man right here, also known as Spider Plushie, people are calling. But we'll take a look at him in a minute. Here is Spider-Canada. She was probably one of the figures that I wasn't going to do. Very happy that I did do her in the long run. But she does have the hood, which I think is attached to her head, right? Yes, it is. So it cannot come off. But what I did is I took the hood piece, painted it in red, and then did the little fur on the front, as well as I added the webbing on the inside, which I forget what head it is, but it did turn out really cool, and I'm very happy on how that turned out, as well as the paint on the inside as well, painting the Canada logo. And if you go to the back, she does have all the painting details as well, and the little gray webbing on her little legs and the boots, which don't go on the inside, which yeah. And of course she does have her little claws as well, which I think turned out really cool. And she does have her, obviously she has her hockey stick, because she has that in the movie. I knew exactly that I wanted to give her that. Next up, we have Spider Plushie. He was made over the summer, I think, but I just took a little dome headpiece. I don't think it's removable. No, it's not. And I just took the Infinity Stone piece, shoved it in there, put some Sculpey in there, sculpted the arms, and put a little stud at the bottom, painted the detail on there, as well as the little spider on the back. And now you have a little GB Spider-Man. So, or Spider Plushie, whatever you guys like to call him. But that is it for Spider Plushie. And now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Spider Cop. So this is going to be technically the last figure. I left all the really good sculpted things at the very end, so you guys are going to get a look at that in a minute. So here is Spider Cop. Now this is a very plain figure. This is kind of based on, once again, your boy Potato Mean. Once again, go take a look at his channel. It's pretty awesome. But of course he has the torso, which is just painted, and you're probably wondering, why did I make Spider Cop but not Therapist Spider-Man? It's because he was in multiple scenes. He was in actually multiple scenes, and I had a Spider Cop that I actually had these pieces lying around that I could use for him. So yes, I could actually make this custom right here. So yeah, anyway, he does have the belt right here, which is pretty cool. He also does have the back of the belt as well. Also the painted arms, which is really cool. And whoa, that's a huge crack, man. Anyway, he also does have a normal Spider-Man head as well, which is pretty cool. Anyway, that's it for Spider Cop. Now we're going to go on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Web-Slinger and Widow. So here is Web-Slinger and Widow. Now we're going to take a look at Widow in a minute, and just take a look at Web-Slinger for a second. So here's Web-Slinger. He of course does have the guns. I didn't make his unique guns that he has in the movie because I don't think he needed them. Removing those. I did sculpt his poncho, which is pretty cool, as well as the little shoulders and the hood on the back, which I think look really cool, as well as the little mask, which you can see right here. And I sculpted that on top of the Rex Danger Vest kind of cowboy hood, which I think turned out really cool. So I really like how that turned out. Then I used the Amy legs and painted the little black lines and stuff. I would have painted right here, but since he goes on Widow and this is going to scratch off, I just decided, hey, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, they're just plain right there, but who cares? But of course he does have the painting on the back as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, there he is. So now you're probably wondering about Widow. So Widow actually was used, so we're going to put Web-Slinger back here. Actually, let's put his guns in his hands. and let's put him back here. So Widow was actually a Elsa horse. So is this Elsa horse? And I know that a lot of you guys are going to get pissed that I did this, but I couldn't find any horses that were available that weren't literally $50. So I just decided to use the only horse, and it was also pretty hard. So if you look at a Lego Friends horse, I didn't do a size comparison of them, but a Lego Friends horse, if you put it next to a normal horse, is like this big. So what I had to do is I had to take this horse, I had to sand off the tail all by the foot, and this foot completely had a tail attached to it. Had to sand that off. Then I had to sculpt the new tail, as well as I also had to sand off the sides of this hair, which you can kind of see a little bit of it, which it's very hard to see though. Had to sand that off as well, and then I had to cut the feet off, sand that off, and then take little squares and then one right here and sculpt that on the inside, which actually turned out really good. Sculpt all that and sculpt its feet, and then after that I had to take a lot of sculpting and then sculpt all this fun stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of sculpting on this. It was very hard to do. I also did all the black lines that you see on it just to give it the Western, kind of the Western, what would you call it? Look, I guess you could say. But yeah, I really love how this turned out. It's really cool, and it just, look at that. Look how awesome that looks. Anyway, that is it for Widow and Web-Slinger. Now we're going to go on to Peter Parked Car, also known as Spider Buggy. So here is Spider Buggy, and I wanted to do that little roll in to show that it actually does roll. It is kind of hard to roll because this was sculpted, but sculpted was like my last straw, I guess you could say, because I was doing so many brick builds and stuff like that. I just didn't want to do this because originally this was just the Daily Bugle brick build, but I decided not to do that. If you want to know the frame of this, that's what it was. It was just that. You can literally see it on the bottom right there. It's that. This is the Lego kind of junior type thing. I wanted it to be able to fit 2 people in here, but you can't put 2 people in here. This is just mostly for display, but I'll show you guys how I did it. So what I did is I basically just took the base like I showed you, sculpted on the side, put some bricks on the side, sculpted on the sides, sculpted on the front, took 2 little studs, little plates, put them as the headlights, as well as I put this piece right here, sculpted that on, as well as on the inside I just kind of put this right here, which looked pretty cool. Then I also put on the back thing right here, sculpted that on with the light and this. Wanted to put little sculpted eyes in here, which I actually do have one of the pieces that I was originally going to plan on doing that, which it was originally going to look like that, but these things rolled and I didn't have enough sculpty to put them on in the inside. I just decided not to at the last minute. Because I couldn't put the little Spider-Man faces on the inside without making it look really bad. So yeah, anyway, also I did sculpt the little lamp up here, which in the one in the movie, you can put literally like 5 people in here. But if you actually do want to recreate that, because I did actually make all the figures from that, I think it's, oh yeah, I do have all the figures. So this is probably going to take a little bit of time, so if you don't really care, just move on. But you can literally take all the figures. I made all of them, which, yes, that's how much. I didn't make Lego Spider-Man. That's another one I didn't make. But yes, you can put them all in here and you can drive off, which, yes, it's pretty cool. But there is Peter Parked Car. It's pretty cool that you're able to roll it as well. It doesn't roll that well, but it still gets the job done. I did get also bigger and smaller wheels, so it looks pretty cool. So yeah, now we're going to go on to the last Spider-Verse character, which is going to be Spider-Rex. Alright, the moment you've been waiting for. Here is the final Spider-Verse character. We have Spider-Rex. Now, Spider-Rex was, this is probably going to be the longest segment, so if you don't care, just go to the end of the video. This is it. This is like the last figure. Except there's 2 more figures, which they're not Spider-Verse characters, but since this is the Across the Spider-Verse showcase, we do have a couple. So stick to the end. We still have a couple more figures, but yeah, this is Spider-Rex, and oh my god, this was a pain in the butt to do. And of course, before anybody asks, yes, I didn't destroy the other one, so you are allowed to take both of these things, and oh my god, they turned out great. Now, even though you guys would love to make this in real life, like, don't get me wrong, this is like probably like the coolest thing I've ever made, but this is, you can tell, this is painted and sculpted by me. If you want the real thing, this is what you would get. Yes, I know it's really depressing. So, let's take a look at this guy. So first off is the head. The head is fully sculpted and painted by me. So the brow right here was sculpted, and then also a lot up here was also sculpted, and just a lot of this was sculpted, as well as the painted, like the eyes. I painted the eyes like they are in the movies, as well as the spider logo, which if we take the head off, which, oop, there we go. I did also paint the spider logo right there, which you can kind of see, which is pretty cool, as well as the webbing underneath, as well as the webbing on the back of the head, as well as webbing on the boots, which was the last thing, because I was painting webbing on spider people, so I had to give it to him. I also did make his arms are much more tinier and simpler. Since this is a cartoon, I decided to do that. I also did put a little bit of sculpting on the back. So this is basically a fully sculpted and painted thing by me. I know a lot of people, or some people, probably saw this in the teaser, because how can you hide a dinosaur? It's huge and big. This dude was gonna get canceled though. Like, it took me like 4 months to do, so I'm sorry, but I did it, and I'm very happy that I was able to pull off this dude. I mean, look how cool this dude is. I mean, you can literally just take like Spider-Man. Where is Miles Morales? Oh my god. You can literally take Spider-Man and like recreate like a scene in the movie. Like, look how cool that is. Like, you're gonna open the jaw and like close it up. I mean, this is just amazing. I wish all you guys could have this. I wish Lego made a Spider-Rex, because this is just really cool, and it's really awesome. So one of the things I don't really like is you can't really see the eyes when they're looking at you, but once again, you can open the mouth and everything, and this is just really fun and really cool. And of course, you're able to move the legs out and everything. So that is it for the kind of spider characters, I guess. Now we're going to go on to like the non-spider characters. However, before we take a look at that, there are some characters who didn't make it in the video, who just are in the background of a lot of my videos. They're Spider-Verse characters. They usually go on my display. But we have Iron Spider, we have Cosmic Spider-Man, which is the same from the last Spider-Verse video that I made so long ago. He's just kind of here, you could say. He's here. Then also we have the MTV Spider-Man, which I just took a knockoff Spider-Man and repainted the back spider and called it the MTV Spider-Man. And then also I display my Symbiote Spider-Man as well. Also my Arachnido Jr. Spider-Man as well. But once again, these guys have been in past videos before, and they're just not even in the movie, so I just decided not to add them. And as well as the big character, who I guess was in the movie, but it was like the big spider thing, it's also Madam Web. So those are all figures that I have in the background. That's really it for today's video, but we do have a couple more figures. So yeah, let's get on to the next figure, which is of course going to be Miles G. Morales, also known as the Prowler. So here is Miles G. Morales, the Prowler, and I made him because I thought his design was really cool. That's really why I made him. So, of course, the first thing is about him is he has the, this was a very hard design, because in the movie, this is what you see. Like, it's just dark. you can't see anything. Like, you don't even know what colors are which. So that's why this dude took so long, because, I mean, not so long, but that's why I didn't really feel like making him, since he's just a very kind of dark character. You can barely see him in the movie, so I didn't really feel like making him, but I did, and yeah, he looks really cool. So, of course, he does have the trench coat, as well as the kind of thing on the back of his back that he has, as well as these little things which are made from electrical tape. He has dual molded legs, as well as the little things on the side, and the hands are sculpted, which I didn't make a Prowler before, so that kind of sucks, but who cares. The head is actually a head which I wonder if I can, oh my god, I can take this off, that's crazy. But whoa, this is a very difficult head to get off. Whoa. Anyway, here is the Prowler head. I took the thin hair piece, made the dreads, and then I just sculpted on the front. That's really it. And then I took that, and I have the thing right here as well. And yeah, pretty cool. Really love how this dude turned out. Really awesome. And now we're going to take a look at the final two customs, which of course are going to be the spots. So yeah, let's take a look at the spots. So here are the spots, and one of the things that I was going to do is I was going to actually make these dudes have elongated parts. But once again, you're probably not even watching the video up to this point, because this is the Spider-Verse showcase, not really the spot showcase. So here is the spot. I decided to make him because who cares. I took the Queer Eye torso, kind of sanded off that little thing right there, painted the black spots everywhere, whatever. I mean, he's okay. And then I did this one. This one's really cool. I love how this one turned out more. I took basically a black torso and the leg is really loose. But I took a black torso, then I painted the white and stuff, and I did all the really cool spots and everything, because once again, my painting's crap anyway. So I decided to do that, did all the little swirls and everything, and I really love how it turned out. So those are the spots. Pretty simple figures. But yeah, I mean, that's really it for today's video. That's really it for the video. So of course, now we're going to close it out, and yeah. So that's going to be it for today's showcase, everybody. Hopefully you guys like all of these amazing customs. Of course, I'm doing the trick because there's so many. I am literally filming the beginning and the ending at the same time, but who cares? But hopefully you guys like all these customs here. I had a lot of fun making these guys. I really don't know where to go from here because of how many characters that I used and how many pieces. So I'm probably going to have to get more pieces online, but who cares? I had a lot of fun making these guys. I hope that you guys had a lot of fun watching all these customs that I put into hard work. But yeah, that's it for today's video, everybody. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace out, and bye.